Hey loves, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to learn how to make a high waist basque, let's say a high basque waistline. So you can see this one started around the under bust area. So in today's video I'll show you guys how to make this from start to finish. So first of all, you will need to cut your gown like a normal full gown. If you want yours to be an A-line gown, you can make it an A-line gown. So I cut this gown, I started from the shoulder and then cut it to the full length. So if you want, you can just stop at the under bust. So from the shoulder I measured my bust points, my waistline, my hip line, and the full length. So this Ankara is 44 inches, so I'm going to use that 44 inches as the full length. So first of all, I'll measure my shoulder and then I'll mark my armhole and my neckline. Like I told you guys, you will have to cut this gown from the shoulder till the full length. But if the fabric cannot reach, you can actually start from the under bust till the full length. I don't know if you understand. Then you mark your armhole, you mark your neckline and your shoulder slant. So this one that I'm cutting, I don't know how to explain it, but this one that I'm cutting right now will not have any bust here. It will not even have a dart. Just cut your normal gown measurements on it. So I'll measure my bust. My bust is 40 divided by 4, that is 10, plus 2 inches seam allowance. I will add extra 2 inches seam allowance to my bust measurement. So my hip is 28 divided by 4 is 7, plus 2 inches seam allowance, and I marked that. So my hip is 44, that is 11, plus 2 inches seam allowance, that is 13. So I'll connect from the waist to the hip. So at the knee measurement, I will divide my hip measurement by 4, and whatever I got, I'll mark it there. My hip is 44 divided by 4, that is 11. So I marked 11 at my knee without any allowance. So after that, you go ahead and connect from your hip to your knee line. So if you're cutting a long A-line gown, you have to measure to the full length. I don't know if you understand. So you go ahead and cut it out. So I'll place it on the back and I'll cut out the back as well. So if you can notice, this gown does not have any waist, any half length, and I did not add any dart to the gown as well. So for the back part, I will not add any dart to it. I will have to manipulate it from the zipper allowance. So at the zipper allowance, when I reach the waistline, I will go in by half an inch. At the waistline of this gown, I'll go in by half an inch or 1 inch. You can make it 1 inch. Then I'll connect from the neckline to that point where I measured the half an inch or the 1 inch. I measured 1 inch, sorry. So from the neckline, you have to curve to that 1 inch line. You can see the zipper allowance is deep at the waistline, at the half length measurement. So I'll go ahead and cut it off. So I'll not have to add a dart to the back, but if you want, you can add a dart to the back. I will just manipulate my own from the zipper allowance. If you want also, you can make this back part to have a half length. You can cut the upper bodice differently and the down part differently. If you want it to have a half length at the back, you can just do the back the way you want. But for the front, cut it without a half length. Make sure you cut the front without a half length. So from this one is for the upper part, this one will be for the basque waistline. So from the shoulder, I measured my chest line, I will measure my bust points, my under bust, my half length. My half length is 17 inches. Then from that 17 inches, you will add like extra 7 inches or 8 inches to it, and that will be for the basque waistline. Like my normal waistline is 17, right? But I want this basque to go down, so I added extra 8 inches from the half length. So you can see that this bodice is very long because it will have the basque waistline in it. So I'll go ahead and measure my dart line. My bust divided, my nipple to nipple is 8 divided by 4. That is 4 plus half an inch. That is 4.5. So I'll go ahead and mark 4 at the under bust. And then I'll maintain the 4, 4, 4 down to the basque waistline. So I'm using a princess dart for this. From the shoulder, I'll come down by 4 inches and I'll make my princess curve. Then at my under bust, I will subtract 2 inches. I'll subtract 2 inches. And then I'll make my curve. Then my armhole. So right now I'll go ahead and mark my neckline. I'll measure the type of neckline that I want to use for this bustier. For this one, I'll use a normal round neck. So I'll make my round neck and then my shoulder slant. So the other one, the main gown that I cut out, it has a shoulder, right? And this one will also have a shoulder. The reason why I'm taking all these measurements is because this one has a bustier, like it has a princess that's bustier. But the major gown, the main gown, I did not add any dart to it at all. I just cut out the gown just flat till the full length. So this one we have a pad. I'll pad the bust. So right now I'll go ahead and cut out the remaining parts and I will notch my under bust as well. So after that, I'll place the center front. I'll notch my under bust first. Then after that, I'll place the center front to cover the cup area. You can see the curved area of the bra, of the breast side. I'll place the center front to cover it. So after that, I'll go ahead and take my bust measurements plus 2 inches seam allowance, my waist measurements plus 2 inches seam allowance. So after doing that, I will connect my waist to my bust and then I'll mark straight down to the basque line. So from the waistline, you will come down by like 2 inches and from there you will mark your basque waistline. For now, come down by 2 inches from your half length. My half length is 17, right? So from there I came down by 2 inches and I marked my triangular waistline. So I am cutting out my basque waistline for now. So this is the shape of the basque for now. After joining everything, I will still shape it very, very well. So I'll go ahead and cut out the lining for this. This is just for the front. The back, I cut the back part together. But if you want the back part to have a half length, you can also cut it out that way. So I'll cut a lining for the front part. I'll cut a lining for the back part. And I'll also cut a lining for this front bodice, the one that I cut out with a red material. So this is the back. I'll cut out the lining for the back as well. So after cutting for the back, I'll go ahead and cut for the front bodice for our princess dart. So after cutting out the lining for the princess dart, I'll go ahead and cut my pad for it because I want to pad it so that it will have a nice fitting. So I'll go ahead and cut out for the side. So right now I'll go ahead and cut my pad for the center and for the side piece of this princess dart, and after that I will gum my pad to the red doll face. So I am done cutting out the pad and I have gummed the pad to the red doll face. So I'll go ahead and join this and I'll also join the lining also. Then for the back part, I will also turn them with my lining. The front part also, like the first front part that I cut out, I will turn it with my lining, except the neckline. There is no point turning the neckline because we'll still cut it out. So I am done turning the princess dart. You can see how it looks. So I am trimming my armhole and my shoulder. So after that, I will retrim my basque. Like I told you guys that I will reshape this basque waistline. So from the shoulder, I will come down to the under bust. So I will mark my under bust. So that is where my basque will start. The basque that we normally sew starts at the waistline, right, at the half length, right? But this one started at the under bust. So from the under bust, you will mark your triangular waistline. Don't know if you understand. So I will have to extend it to my bust, under bust. So after that, I'll go ahead and trim off the rest of the bodice. So the first time I came down by the half length, right, just to make a rough basque shape. But this time around, I came down from the under bust. You can see the basque waistline extended to the under bust. So the basque is very deep right now. So after that, I will introduce that first main, like the main gown that I cut. You can see this is for the back parts. So I will have to place the two back parts together, and then I will go to my sewing machine and cover the zipper allowance. I'll cover the zipper allowance and keep them aside. So let me arrange this so that you guys can see it well. So I'll go ahead and use 1.5 inch for my zipper allowance, and when I reach the waistline, I will make it to go deeper and then out. So this is how I'm going to shape the back in order to avoid adding a dart. But you can still add a dart if you want, or you can still add a half length like I said before. So I'll measure the full length of the gown. The full length that I have right now is 44 inches. If you're making an A-line gown, a long gown, it should be around 60, 64, 65 inches. But I'm making a short gown for this. So this is the front part. So I have 44 inches for the back. The full length of the back is 44. So I'll measure the front also to make sure that the full length I have right here is 44 inches as well, so that none of them will be longer than the other. So after that, I will place the basque, the bodice, the one that has this back shape, I'll place it on this one, and I'll also maintain that 44 inches length. I'll make sure that I have my 44 inches. I'll make sure that my under bust is in place, my half length, everything is in place. So right now, the full length of the gown is 44 inches. So I am going to trace out this basque shape on this gown right now. You can see our bodice. So I'm going to use my chalk and trace out the triangular line first of all. So had it been this gown had a half length, it will be hard and it will have a lot of lines. So right now I will trace out the V shape, right? This is where I'm going to trim from. So I'll remove that one and then I will trim. So when trimming, you will not trim exactly on the line. You will come up by like half an inch. If you trim exactly on the line, when joining the red part to the Ankara part, you will notice that the Ankara part will be too wide for that red part. It will be wider than the red part. So right now I'll go ahead and join. You can see I have replaced this red one with the former Ankara one. So this is like the easiest method for making this type of basque waistline, any basque waistline that cross the half length. So just cut the main gown, cut your body separately, then after you will replace the bodice area. So this is what I have right now. I'll go ahead and join. So I am done joining and I am done ironing. This is what I have right now. So I'll go ahead and place the front part and the back part together, and then I will go ahead and shape. I will take my body measurements and I will go ahead and shape. So make sure that all your measurements are in place. So if you are shaping, first of all, join the bust, the waist, the hip and everything. Leave the shoulder for now. So after joining the main gown, you can now go ahead and join the shoulder part. I don't know if you understand. It will help you to achieve a good result. So place the two of them together. Take your bust measurement, take your waist measurement, take your hip measurement and shape. Then after that, you can go ahead and join the shoulder. So after joining it, I'll come back and show you guys. So this is what we have. You can see that the basque line crossed the half length line, and this is looking so beautiful. So if you are making a lace, this is the method that you also use. Like I told you guys, if your lace cannot start from the shoulder to the full length, you can start your measurements from the under bust, not the half length this time. You know, if you are cutting a lace, you start from the half length, you subtract the half length, but this time you will subtract from the under bust. So after that, you can go ahead and add your trimmings. You can use your trimmings to design it. If you are cutting with a lace, instead of subtracting half length before taking the rest of the measurement, you subtract from your under bust. Let's say your under bust is 13, you place your under bust, you place the 13 before taking the remaining parts of the measurement. I don't know if you understand. So you can go ahead and design this with your trimmings. It depends on what you want. So you can go ahead and manipulate things. Using trimmings will help you very well. It will also help you to define the basque waistline very, very well. So that is all for now. I hope you try this out and then tell me the results. If you have any question, I'll drop the link to my WhatsApp and the Telegram group so that you can come there and I'll clarify you very well. So thank you guys for watching. Our corset class is on. Please do not forget to register. So here is the final look on our model. So everything is so fine. So please do not forget to subscribe and do not forget to give this video a thumbs up so that anytime, click on notification bell so that anytime I upload, you will be notified. See you guys in my next video. Bye.